Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar that we will be doing on the pressing issue, I guess, or the concern that parents and students have about studying in the US. People have been asking questions online and at our meetings about whether it's safe to go to the US now for international students. So that's why we're doing this webinar today with our partner, Nick Cook, who is representing Bethany Lutheran College. Before we go into the presentation, I'd like to talk about who we are. And I represent Global Compass and Education Abroad Consultancy. We work in two countries, Kyrgyzstan and Turkey, where we have offices in the capital cities. And as the name says, we're global. We send students all over the world. They are all across, I guess, the world map, and wherever students want to go, we help them to get to their destination. And we are like Compass, guiding students and helping them at every step of the way so that they don't get lost, they get full support. And that's what we basically do. We've been working as education counseling and consultancy since 2015, so it's been more than 10 years already. Like I mentioned, we're present in two countries where we started and where I am based now at the moment. As education counselors ourselves, we take our job seriously. That's why we undergo trainings and certifications, which we believe are important so that we are up to date on the visa changes, the industry changes, and whatever's happening in the international education landscape. And in Kyrgyzstan, we have also a test center, which is accredited by the UKVI, and this is the center where students can come and take the English tests that are necessary for the immigration to UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So me myself is a certified international education counselor. My name is Jildiz. I am from Kyrgyzstan, but I'm based now in Turkey, in Ankara, and I've been in this industry for also more than 10 years, and I've helped hundreds of students go to different destinations. And this is, I guess, not an exhaustive list, but a major list where our students have chosen to go. And as you see, they are in North America, all across Europe, in Arab countries, Asian countries. So wherever students want to go and want to end up and start a career with education. So that's where we help them to go. And to students, we offered a variety of different options to start their education abroad, from short-term language courses to long-term language courses, summer camps, summer schools for university students, for high school students. We also offer high school student exchange programs. And what's important and what's, I guess, most highly sought after is education at universities at undergraduate level, graduate level, and obviously any scholarship programs that would be available. We help students with getting that information as well. And as students, we know, especially for international students, they don't only need an admission, they also need additional support with perhaps visa, with accommodation booking, which are important parts of their whole international education journey. And we help them at every step of the way. Different students have different needs. So whatever they need along the way, we do provide upon their request. And therefore, we have a whole package of service that helps our students, I guess, to fulfill their journey when they take on the road, I guess, to going abroad and starting their education in another country. You can find us on different channels, on platforms, and such as Instagram and Facebook, where we post our updates, where we post news and announcements about the different programs and opportunities. So follow us there. So, and this webinar, by the way, will be also posted on YouTube, so you can watch the webinar recording on our YouTube channel. On Google, we have a page where a lot of parents and students leave their reviews and share their comments about the work that we've done with them. And if you want to get in touch with us directly, these are the contact details, including the website address, the email, and the WhatsApp or phone number that if you want to speak to us directly. And with this, now I am giving the floor to our partner, Nick Cook, who's representing Bethany Lutheran College. He's been with the college for more than 10 years as well, and he will talk more about the current situation in the United States, especially that's concerning international students, that I guess is more relevant for the current days. I guess, yeah, like questions and concerns that parents have at the moment, because a lot of them have been wondering and asking because they've been watching the news online and hearing maybe from some people who've been living there in the US. So you, Nick, as the person on the ground and as a person who's been working with and dealing with international students, you can share this information firsthand and what it's like at your college in your city. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gillis. And my name is Nick Cook, and we so appreciate our partnership here with Global Compass. Let me try to share my screen with you here. And there it should be. And so I'm Nick Cook, and I'm from Bethany Lutheran College in Minnesota in the United States. And I've been here for just over 10 years now, and we've seen a lot of growth with our international program. And we know that this is a time when people are asking a lot of questions because there's just different things that have changed. So that creates uncertainty. And so some of the things that I'll talk about here are why studying in the United States is still attracting international students to come and study. Next, what students are most concerned about right now. And so you can see some of the examples there is like getting a visa, how safe it is, and the cost. And finally, what are some of the things that have changed with those three things and what has not changed? So I'll start off by talking about why studying in the United States still attracts international students. Um, so you know that one of the major reasons that students still choose the United States is career development. So United States employers, they increasingly value global experience. So that's especially multilingual skills, cross-cultural understanding, and obviously international students will naturally bring that advantage. United States universities also invest very heavily in career preparation, so offering resume support, internships, job readiness training, and that helps students to understand how the professional world really works. So it makes the United States a strong place to go. And finally, in addition, international students have structured legal ways to gain work experience. So that could be on-campus jobs, internships that are related to their major, and postgraduate OPT. So while long-term visas like a H-1B working visa that's never guaranteed, still the United States remains one of the strongest places to connect education with real professional experience. Another reason is the strength of U.S. academics combined with the student support that we offer. So, American universities offer a lot of flexibility. Students can explore different majors, they can combine different fields as they adapt their path, as they grow. Classes emphasize critical thinking here, discussion, practical application. So, it's not just being in your desk and memorizing. And also the faculty, so the professors, they're accessible. You can have special time one-on-one with them, and their teaching gives really interactive learning. Then, just as important, United States campuses, they provide extensive support like academic advising, tutoring, writing centers, and dedicated offices just for international students. So the whole system is designed to help students succeed, especially those who are adjusting to a new country and a new academic culture. Studying in the United States also allows students to perfect their English while gaining a global perspective. So, English is used every day in class discussions, group projects, internships, and daily life. So helping students, it gives them real confidence, and it's not just test scores, it's actual real confidence in real life situations with English. And then at the same time, United States campuses are deeply international. So students learn alongside peers from all over the world. And that helps them to develop cross-cultural communication and global awareness. Then finally, I would say this combination, like strong English and international perspective, it helps all of our graduates to succeed in global careers, no matter where they look to work after graduation. Very crazy and make people worry. And so let's talk about some of those concerns right now. First one is visas. And so there are some things that may have changed and some not. I'll put those right here on the screen for you. So something that has changed is some countries in the last few months, the United States has restricted some countries from applying for F1 visas. But that list is kind of small, and so when people hear about the visa issues, they might think that it applies to everybody, but there are just a small few amount of countries that have been restricted from applying for the non-immigrant F1 visas. There is a bigger list of countries that came out where they might be a little more restricted with other types of visas, but the non-immigrant, just student visas, it's a pretty small list of countries that are not able to get visas right now. Some things that haven't changed. So most of those other countries still can get a visa, and uh, the the main thing that they are looking for in a visa interview is always the same as it's been before, which is they want to ensure that a student is truly seeking a visa so that they can study. And that's because it's a non-immigrant visa. And if they can't overcome that burden of proof, it's always been the same where they're going to deny that visa. But if you can prove that, yes, I'm just planning to come to study and then I'm planning to return to my home country someday in order uh, to use the skills that I gained in the United States, then the visa, the intention of that visa is that it should be given to you. Another thing students have been concerned with is safety. As far as what's changed with that, there's increased enforcement that is related to immigration status, but not student visas. So that's one of the things that maybe some people have heard about on the news is the increased enforcement of uh, people that might not be here legally. The media coverage can really make people more scared because the media loves to make things like seem very sensationalized because then I think they get more clicks and everything with the news. But some things that have not changed is that F1 students, so students with a student visa, they're still here lawfully present and they are welcomed. And so we remind that to all of our students. We have never had any of our students have any problems because they are all here legally. They did everything with the right process, and so they're not in any way a target for removal. Colleges are actively supporting international students still, and so we give our students big group meetings to talk about any safety concerns they have, or they can come to us individually, and we still support them in really any way that they need. And one other thing is in small or mid-sized college towns, uh, it's just a very safe environment. So it's usually the news is going to be focused on big cities, but if you're in a small or a mid-sized town, it's very calm, and there's really nothing that students worry about here at all. Finally, with cost, people are concerned about this because of inflation. And so what has changed is that tuition and living costs have increased really everywhere. And that includes the United States, but it really depends on where you are as far as how much the inflation has uh, affected things. So what's not changed though is that strong scholarships, at least what we offer, is it means that over 50% of your attendance can be scholarship. And so, for example, over here where I work, Bethany costs, over $40,000 before scholarship, but then after the scholarship, it's under $20,000, and that includes room and food with it. And so people don't realize that even though life is expensive, colleges have special money that is set aside just for scholarships to give to students that want to study in the United States. And so, even though inflation is a real thing, scholarships can really help to fight against that and give students a chance to still study here in the United States. Some practical advice that I would offer to you, I would say apply early because right now the visa wait time can be kind of long. Depending on what country you are in, you might have to wait maybe only a week or two, but in some countries, you might have to wait a couple of months to get a visa appointment. So applying early, like right now, for August is a really good idea. Also, remember that you're a welcomed guest by acquiring a visa to study. And that's really just reminding you of the safety thing that some people worry about. They've heard of, ICE focusing on illegal immigration, but just remember that F1 international students, they are a welcomed guest, and the country is giving you a visa welcoming you to study. And so it's a very safe situation. And finally, remember that the scholarship it makes the cost more affordable. So I know that everybody has dealt with the real impact of inflation in the past 5 years or so, but the scholarships really do help make the overall cost of living here an affordable one for everybody. And that's everything that I had to say. So, did you have anything else that you wanted to kind of close with?
Um, well, I
I can
realized.
answer questions too.
Right. So, if there are any questions related to, I guess, the news, the concerns regarding especially like the safety and the visas, the immigration, please write them in the chat. I see some questions, but they aren't related to that topic. So they are rather more about the programs. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat. If not, maybe you can tell about the opportunities available at Bethany Lutheran College.
Yeah, so at Bethany we focus on the bachelor's degrees, and so I saw a question about the PhD. We focus on all bachelor's degrees here, and so it's usually the first 4 years of school after high school. But I would say for a lot of graduate programs, like master's and doctoral degree programs, oftentimes they will be applications will be due at the end of December for the next fall. But if you're still looking to start in the fall somewhere in the United States, if you look around hard enough, I think there should be some schools that are still accepting students for August. It might just be the big and most well-known schools that make their applications due in December.
You mentioned about the list of countries and that there were very few countries that are on the ban list for international student visas. And I guess the question is related to that, if Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, and I will add Turkey as well, if these countries are on that list. I believe
No,
not.
last I
Due
checked,
to
they weren't, and
discrimination.
I'll take a look again here. But
Mhm,
the
mhm,
last time I checked, they were not. They were actually all pretty much countries that were in Africa. But let me take a look here just to double check that.
mhm, mhm. I
Want
believe
to make
they're
sure I
the
spell.
countries that are in war. That are having active wars. I believe, yeah, I think those are the countries that are on the ban list for the international student visas.
Yeah, they're not. They're not on the list. So that's good news.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Another question, do you have pre-college summer programs?
Pre-college summer programs. No, we did a long time ago before COVID-19, where we had like a one or two class and camp type of program. Now what we do is we have a 10-day orientation class for our students. So that's kind of our summer program. But that's once again starting in August, right before school starts, where we not only have a short class that teaches students about American culture before all the American students arrive, but we take them to a lot of fun activities as well. So we take them to a professional baseball game. We go to the biggest mall in the United States. We go to an amusement park with the roller coasters and everything. I could show you a couple pictures of those. Give me one moment here.
Hmm.
And if you would like, I could show you some just pictures of campus. Uh, but here is, let's see here. I need to share my screen again. So I was mentioning our orientation program in the summer, which is not like it's not like a summer program because it's kind of all students that are about to start actually studying here. But in addition to doing just American culture and English practice, we'll do a lot of fun excursions. So like you can see a professional baseball park in there, an amusement park called Valley Fair with all the roller coasters and swimming and stuff. And then the Mall of America is the largest mall in the United States. It's so big that they even have hotels and rides inside, and so it's a pretty cool thing. I let me find for you the the pictures of our campus just so that students can kind of see what it can look like when you have a school that's offering you scholarships to study. And sometimes people think, well, it's affordable, so maybe it's not that nice. But people always find our campus to be very, very nice. And so typical classroom size is like this, about 17 students in a class. Uh,
Hmm.
some classes might be smaller with 5 to 10 students. We're in the top 10 nationally for the media arts. So that's students that want to broadcast sports live on television. We've had students go on to work for ESPN or with famous professional athletes. Even when I studied, I had a classmate who works with LeBron James on promo shoots. So really well-known athletes, podcast studio. We have the computer labs for both PC and Mac, and so regardless of what you prefer, we would have those computer labs. For music, it's an all Steinway campus, and so Steinway is known by many as one of the maybe the best piano maker in the world, and so very high quality pianos to practice on. And then in the theater here, they run 3 or 4 different shows that you could do acting in. Sports and fitness facilities, there's 2 of them, and the one on top there is the very new building. It's got the big field in the middle with the nets going around it. And so that allows students to play sports in the middle and then other students to walk or run around the track. We also have, well, those are the locker rooms there in the gym. Uh, Outside, though, there's the soccer field and tennis courts with the rest of the campus in the background. In the other sports and fitness center, there's 2 different gyms. Library here. Library has private study rooms going all the way around the upper level, so you can have a nice quiet place to study and shut the door. Uh, we are a Christian school, but students here are not always Christian students themselves, and so we understand that, and we do not require students to go to chapel. We love to invite them to chapel, but they don't ever have to go to chapel if we understand that there's people here from many different faith backgrounds. Uh,
Speaking of students, where are they from, and what's the maybe number or percentage of international students and their geography?
yeah, I have a slide coming right up on that. Like the just where all this. I'll show you that in just a moment.
Sure.
Um, I'll there's 2 other things I'll show you right before that. There just the weather and then the dormitories. So we have 4 seasons for weather. So it's summer here on this picture you see. Then we have the fall, which is kind of mild, and you sometimes are not wearing a coat. Sometimes you put on a coat if it's a little chilly, but it's the red and orange and yellow leaves. We do have about 3 months where you'll usually see snow. So December, January, and February is when it's common for it to snow. We even had some very warm days recently where most of the snow melted, and so it's not always snowy, but it should be cold in the winter for sure. And then we have 4 dormitories. So the girls' ones are on the left there, and the boys' dormitories are on the right. So a girls' dorm would be usually 3 or 4 girls in a room because they're usually very big rooms. There are some smaller 2 girl rooms, but I think more than half of them are 3 or 4 because they're so large. And you can see the building that the juniors and seniors live in. They get a kitchen and living room connected to their rooms. The boys' rooms are always two-person rooms. I know that you can see 3 boys in that picture, but it's two-person rooms, regardless of which building. Those are smaller rooms, and so we just put 2 boys in each room. And then you wanted to see the map of where our students come from. I've got that here. Just give me a moment. So they're coming from about 35 different countries, and um, it's usually just where our partners have been sending students from, and so they're coming from quite a lot of different places around the world. And sometimes a country will pop up, and then that student will graduate, but it's really never dominated by one country. We have about 20 to 25% of our student body being international students, but it's very spread out regarding like which countries they're coming from.
Which is actually a good proportion because typically I've seen be universities, especially in the US, either being very international, where very few Americans would be attending a particular university, or it would be maybe only about 10% at most. So in your
Yes.
case, 25% is actually quite a good balance. So
It
it
is.
seems like it's spread
Yes,
everywhere.
it's a very good balance. And you mentioned the when it's sometimes not. When I started here 10 years or 11 years ago now, there were I think 7 total international students here.
Wow.
And so we kind of put a focus on making it more of a global campus and having students from everywhere. And so we put a focus on that, and now we're at a really good level where we're a small campus, and so if you're here, you'll expect to see, 800 students or so at Bethany. And, the number of international students is usually somewhere, but right around 150 is what we had this past fall. So it's a good
Mhm.
number of students from
Right.
all over the place.
Right. Before we jumped into the questions that I see in the chat box, so
Hmm.
the question related to the students again. So from 7 up to 150, obviously there's been a lot of work done for internationalization, but I guess I wonder what made those students choose Bethany College because the number has changed, the number has grown, and the geography is really diverse, which is great. So what made it special for them, I guess, to come to Bethany, why they chose Bethany?
Well, it's super safe here, and so we
Mhm.
support them so well. I told you it's a small school. Uh, the number we advertise, which includes high school students that are not here, is 900, but really on campus is 750 to 800, somewhere in there.
Mm.
And so it's really small, and they know they're getting a lot of one-on-one support from
Mhm.
professors. So all of the professors are going to know their name,
Mhm.
care about them and their future. Oftentimes they'll even know the names of their siblings because they have that kind of good relationship. And then at the same time, we offer great scholarships. I mentioned before that the sticker price is above 40,000, but the final cost to all of the students that get accepted is below $20,000, including their
Mhm.
room and food. And so we also make it really accessible for them with the price. We had a graduate in the 1940s that started a very, very successful ice cream company, and because that person loved education at Bethany so much, they set up a foundation that helped build a lot of the beautiful buildings we have, and also a big scholarship fund. And of course, there are many more smaller donors that also donate money to help students to get scholarships. And so, really, there's
Mm.
just a lot of people here that want to see education thrive. And so they donate money, and they want students to get scholarships. And so that's what the money is set aside for, is because we know that the cost of education is so high, but we want to make it affordable for students. So I think it's a
Mm.
combination of all the support and safety we have for students, along with the really good cost after scholarships.
Affordability, right.
Yep.
So there's this question that I want to take, I guess, before going to the earlier post question. So what it says, what difference do you have from non-Christian universities? I guess because in the US and generally in the West, a lot of universities started as, well, not religious, but like Christian mostly. And then there are some maybe newer universities which are non-denominational. They have no religion whatsoever. So I guess for a lot of students coming from Turkey, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and countries where predominantly people would be, I guess, known as Muslim or maybe not religious. So it's interesting. It would be interesting to know what's the difference, like how, I guess, what are the difference between religious and non-religious or Christian or non-Christian universities and
Yeah,
for its
so I
students?
would put them in three different categories. I'm
Mhm.
sure you could separate them even further, but you have public universities that are not religious at all, and then you have
Mhm.
schools that
Private.
once were founded as Christian, but
Mhm.
they don't really continue with that tradition so much.
Mhm.
And then you have a school like Bethany where we were started as a Christian school and we still really are. And so I would
Mhm.
really recommend that a student just look at what are Christian values and just realize we're not in any way trying to push a student to change their religion, and we're very respectful of everybody's religion. We have, when I showed you the map, you saw our students come from everywhere, and so we know that our students come from a lot of different faith backgrounds. And as long as they understand that they're at a Christian school, and as long as they really understand that and they're not going in with the wrong expectations, all of the students do very well. So we don't require them to go to chapel. We have some religion classes that are built into the curriculum that are, I would say they're kind of like informational. And once again, the professors there are very good at not making any student feel like pressured. It's just like teaching you about what Christianity is. And so that's a small part of the overall curriculum to graduate, but it's part of it. So you would have to just be comfortable knowing, okay, I'm going to be in a class where I learn about Christianity, but they're not going to try to force anything upon me.
Mhm. And I guess like many Christian probably schools, especially these days, Christianity or like the religious aspect is more like,
Mm.
yes, it is in some ways built into the curriculum, but it's also more like social and traditional. I guess you do like have these celebrations like, I don't know, Christmas with the choir and
Yeah,
maybe
yep.
like Easter
Yep.
holidays and some stuff. So it's more of a, I guess, social celebratory kind of tradition that you
And
probably.
a public school would call it winter break when we get 3 weeks off at Christmas time, and we call it Christmas break. So Christmas is very, important to us. We have an Easter break where we have a spring break, which is coming up at the end of this week, and then we also have an Easter break later on where students get an
Ah,
extra few days off. So, we celebrate those holidays. We don't in any way require our students to celebrate them, but if we have a Christian holiday here, we won't have school.
And that's all across the Western world, I would say, which is more
Yep.
Christian. So it's celebrated all across the university, schools, and so on. There's another question about, I guess, because you mentioned the student support. So do you organize career fairs, especially like for science students, I guess? So, and they mentioned microbiology, chemistry, etc. So I guess, yeah, it's the student support.
They go to career fairs. Yeah, we have a career services center, which is actually it's right across the hall from our international office, which is kind of convenient. But they will go with students to career fairs and invite especially juniors and seniors to start going to those.
Mhm.
And they have a 90% rate of students having a job within 6 months of graduation.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
some students, they want to get a master's degree. And so about 88% of students are accepted into their number one choice. So they
Mhm.
do a great job getting students prepared, whether they want a job right away or whether they want to go and get a master's degree.
Mhm. Oh, those are good numbers, actually. 95% and within the 6 months. That's pretty good. Um, I would also ask about if you have STEM designated programs which allow international
Yeah.
students to stay a bit longer. And I guess if you can talk about those opportunities for STEM students and what programs perhaps you have.
Yeah. So if for students that know of the abbreviation OPT, it stands for optional practical training. It's code for like an internship that you can have for a year after you graduate college. And if you were majoring in one of the designated STEM programs, then you can actually get a 2-year extension after that first year. And so we have 8 different STEM programs. I can probably list them off the top of my head, like biology, biochemistry, chemistry,
Mhm.
computer science, engineering, um, exercise science, media arts, and mathematics. The one that is unfortunate is that nursing, we have nursing, of course, but we do not uh, know why the United States government does not call nursing a STEM program. I think it must be because the United States wants to protect nurses or nursing jobs or something, but it seems so obvious that that is a science-based major, but that one is not. So that's a one that students can sometimes get confused about. But we do have 8 different STEM programs where students could get the 3 years total of the internship after graduation.
Mm. It's interesting you have media arts as a STEM. It's not always, and it's not STEM in like in every university. So
I wouldn't have thought it either, but it's just whatever the code, a major
technology,
always
right?
lines up with a code, and
Yeah.
that one it does. It qualifies for STEM, so that's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's a great opportunity for those who want to go into the media arts and they want to extend, I guess, the opportunities if they want to
Yeah.
maybe stay a bit longer in the US and get some practical experience. Another question is related about engineering that you mentioned. So is it like a
Mhm.
general engineering, or do you have like a specific engineering that you offer? Like
Yeah.
what kind of engineering program do you
Two
offer?
different focus tracks. There is biomedical engineering and mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay.
Those two fields are somewhat related, but the biomedical, they're learning to design things like hospital equipment, and Minnesota is so well known for healthcare. Uh, in, in fact, the Mayo Clinic would be the main one, and Mayo Clinic has one of their hospitals right across the street from us. And I often tell people
Mm.
that as kind of a selling point that, we hope you don't need to use the doctor, but if you do ever have a medical emergency, we have a very good hospital that's right across the street from us. So you would not even need to get into a car or anything. And they
Mhm.
even have a nurse that works here every morning for a few hours for free medical care for students. But Minnesota is just so well known for medical care. And so if you
Mhm.
want to get into engineering, doing biomedical engineering can be a great option, especially here because healthcare is so big and being in Minnesota is probably good for biomedical engineering.
Yeah, that's indeed a good selling point. I'm with Mayo Clinic right across the road, so
Yeah, so
definitely.
the main Mayo Clinic, the one that people fly from all over the world, that one is in Rochester, Minnesota. But because they are such a well-known and big hospital, they have many more hospitals that are in different
Mhm.
places.
Mhm.
So their Mankato branch is across the street from us, and they are a top 50 hospital themselves, just standalone.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a great opportunity for students, and also it's just nice to know that if they need to ever see the doctor, it's right there, right here on
Mhm.
campus, pretty much.
Right. Cool. Um, any other questions from the audience? I would also wonder, I guess, about how international students get there. Where do they fly to? Do you pick them up, or how do they get on campus?
Mhm.
Because it's probably not near the airport, and they would
Yeah,
have to a journey.
it's really not so bad. The first time that students arrive, we pick them up at the airport. It's
Mhm.
Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. They are
Mhm.
about an hour and 15 minutes away from Bethany's campus, and we pick them
Mhm.
up there because they've never been here before, and it's just nice,
Right.
when somebody picks you up. You don't have to worry about that. But after
Mhm.
students are established here and they know how things are, there is a bus that goes between our city, Mankato, to the airport 4 or 5 times per day. And so they just go
Mhm.
back and forth, and it's not expensive. So our students know that they can just book a bus ticket and go back and forth between the airport very easily.
Mhm. Cool, but it's really great that you picked them up at the first arrival.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's
think it just
great.
makes it takes away their worry, like, oh, somebody's going to pick me up. I don't have anything to worry about.
Right, right. Okay, any other questions from, not from me, from someone else in the audience? So from me, and what I hear mostly from obviously students and the parents is it's the safety concern. So how safe it is, etc.
Hmm.
And how welcoming are the local people, especially. And maybe I guess the first impression or the first contact that they would have with the US people is at the airport.
Hmm.
If there's any, I guess, well, I wouldn't say warning, but like a tip that you would have for students arriving for the first time in the US, what to do, what not to do, what to bring, what not to bring.
Well, you know, we actually have, because that's such a long list of things to bring, we give them a packing list. So we say,
Ah,
hey,
good,
these are
good.
things that you should bring along. I remind them, don't worry, just be excited because it is an exciting thing. It makes me sad that students have to feel worried about something, but there's nothing to worry about because they're a welcomed guest. They have a visa to come and study here. And so
Mhm,
they're going to get treated great, and we're going to pick them up at the airport, and it's an exciting thing. There's really nothing to worry
mhm.
about at all.
Good. Well, if the audience doesn't have any further questions, we can wrap it up. And I would just say probably that you can contact us directly if you want to have further information, if you want to perhaps initiate an application, if you want guidance on how to apply, basically the whole process of getting admission into the Bethany Lutheran College and visa support, which we do provide for all international students that we work with. So um, yeah, you have our contacts. That's how you got the link to the webinar. So feel free. And that's pretty much it then.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm so glad that everybody else came to talk because it's always a pleasure to be able to get in front of students and just talk about what the offerings are here in the United States. We're always happy to help.
Sure. And thank you for asking the questions that we had in the chat box. So I
Of
hope
course.
it was useful. And yeah, and thank you for answering the questions and doing the presentations next. So well, maybe see you again next time.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.